Hi, Leanne Donoghue-Tamplin here. Today I'm continuing with the series on what's holding you back from achieving your dreams. And one aspect of that is the idea that success means sacrifice. And I think that's kind of counter to what most of us believe. When we see people who have succeeded, and we generally see them at the end, so they've already succeeded, then they look like they've got it all. They look like there's no sacrifices involved in their lives at all. And it may be that once you get to that degree of success, that there are less sacrifices. But the work towards succeeding does require sacrifice. It doesn't mean that you sacrifice everything, and I will talk a little bit more in a minute about that, but it does mean that there are choices to be made about where you can spend your time. So, for example, some women will choose family focus over financial independence, and others might make the other choice. And it can be a difficult choice to make, the idea that, well, I want to support my family financially, so I'm willing to sacrifice the time with them that I used to have. Or vice versa, I'm willing to sacrifice financial comfort over spending. I want to spend more time with my children than having that financial comfort. It's tricky to have both, right? So you can have some degree of both, but it's unlikely that you will have the outcome that you would have had if you just focused on one or the other. If we look at Olympic athletes, for example, many of them, when we see them getting a gold medal and think, oh, the life's in their hands, they've spent probably more than 4 years, potentially 10, dedicating themselves to that target and potentially sacrificing a whole lot of other things in their lives. So I don't mean that their lives are horrible all that time, but they choose that focus, that goal, over a whole lot of other things that potentially other people or their peers are doing, and they're not able to because they've got this focus. So success does require sacrifice or choices about where your focus is going to be. I encourage you to look at blending different aspects of your life so that you're not so focused on one that everything else is dropped away. So when you have a really strong goal that you want to achieve, that you don't just ignore everything else, but you find ways to incorporate those things into your life, and consider that blending is something where you put a variety of ingredients in and they come out looking different than they would have had they not been blended. So you may not be able to spend the same amount of time with your children that you would have if you choose financial independence, but you find a way to incorporate the two so that they look a bit different to the way they would have had you just completely focused on one or the other. So, but I think it's important, when you're looking at achieving your goals or what's blocking you from achieving your goals, are you struggling with the sacrifices that might need to be made to be able to get there? And then maybe that isn't really the goal you want. Maybe it's time to reflect on that. Right, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.